Tell it like it is. Nothing matters anymore, right? It's not that super.
I'm going to be a curmudgeon. This is not a very Super Tuesday. I mean, it's kind of anticlimactic.
Because this is already over?
Yeah, it's kind of over. And even though, as I think Josh pointed earlier, a quarter of the House is up, but most of those races outside of that state or that district aren't terribly interesting. So this is going to be the start of, the longest general election we've ever had, kind of like the Bataan Death March. I mean, this is going to be an ugly, ugly year. But you'll be there.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be there. We're buckling up now as we speak.
However ugly it may be.
Indeed. So I guess my question is there really nothing that the results today can teach us about the strength of either of these candidates, Trump or Biden, as they head into this general election contest? If you're seeing low turnout, if you're seeing Trump losing a significant amount of the vote share to Nikki Haley, is that not telling in some way? What can we actually glean? I'm looking for a sliver of hope here.
I'm going to do a shameless promotion of the Bloomberg News Morning Consult poll.
Wow. Okay.
The swing state polls that you guys released last week, those tell you everything you need to know. That right now the president is behind in all 7 swing states, and 6 of them he carried last time. This race is a lot harder than I think many Democrats really appreciate, because Democrats waste a lot of votes by running up the score, winning California by 5 million and New York by 2 million and all this. That what happens is a Democrat probably needs to win the national popular vote by 4 or 5 percentage points before that's going to translate into an electoral college majority. That Republican votes are just more efficiently allocated around the country.
Well, and of those polls or swing states that were in our poll, 2 of them are voting. North Carolina, Minnesota, they have primaries today. Will you look at that?
But no. I mean, no. The thing is that you've got a lot of other programming. I mean, no. The thing is, seriously, your poll is the best thing to look at if people are looking to get insight into what November, how it could shape up. Because that's where, the president's chances live and die in those states, those 7 states, and it's going to be tough for it.
You've made the notion that national polls inflate Democrats' standings. Then, so is it time to start blowing holes in this argument that Nikki Haley is in fact a more powerful threat to Joe Biden, that she's the one who beats Biden, not Donald Trump, because he's winning all of those 7 swing states?
No, the thing is, almost any other Republican would beat Biden handily. Right now, I think Trump has an advantage. But would Haley win by going away? Of course you would. But you know what? Either you guys have a better chance of winning a Republican nomination than she does right now. She's running for 2028. Whether she knows it or not, and how she does will, lift or depress her standing going into the next one in 2028.
So her decisions here in the next 24 hours might be pretty important.
Well, and to be honest, I don't think the turnout is going to be in these primaries going to be that huge. I mean, the key is going to be the 8 or 10% that are pure independents in a general election. They're not primary voters, and they don't like either candidate, and they tend to read, watch, listen to news less than other people, and they vote not on the economy but their economy. And do I feel like I was better off before January 20th, 2021, or since? And those kinds of polls, those kinds of numbers, whether in the national polls this past weekend or your poll, those are the numbers that are just really troubling for the president. I mean, this is the first, presidential election since 1892 that you had back-to-back presidents running, which allows for a side-by-side comparison. Was I better off then? Am I better off now? And regardless of how voters should look at it, they have a very rosy impression, not just the economy, but, most of these issues, they think things were better off then. And that's a real challenge for the president.
Well, to your point on turnout perhaps being low in the primary, I also wonder, when we're thinking about the turnout we could see in November, and to return to the point about this is going to be an incredibly long general election campaign, should we draw a correlation between the length of the campaign and the likelihood of voters to turn out if they're just completely exhausted by being just flooded with this kind of material for effectively what is going to be an 8-month-long period?
Yeah, I mean, we had 2018 was like the highest midterm election turnout ever. And 2020 was huge. This one's going to be really, really low because people are trying to choose who do they hate the least. You know, and, I mean, I hate being like this because my wife says I'm a pathological optimist, and I know I don't sound that way, but you know, when I get kind of down,
imagine the fatigue.
Huh?
The fatigue.
Yeah.
The ads, the speeches. People will be done with both of them if they are already.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that the Republican Party, there's plenty of talent in both parties, you know, and any other Democrat, almost any other Democrat would beat President Trump fairly easily. But the question is, can Biden beat him?
Yeah.
Just 20 seconds, Charlie. No labels? Can they run a candidate? Should they? They've always said Super Tuesday was their marker.
I wish they would run candidates in Senate and House races around the country where there's no electoral college. With the electoral college, a third party or independent candidate, they can be a spoiler, but they can't be a victor. There aren't 270 electoral votes there. And so the thing is, there's nothing wrong with the U.S. Senate that 4 or 5 really independent senators wouldn't help, or the House that a couple dozen in the House would. That's where they could actually do some real good.